All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans No Ball here bright and early for the Week 16 Sunday chat. I see Christian, you're out, of course, so we're out on a little on location type episode. So Christian, I'll let you get it started here.
Yeah, it's obviously different change of scenery once again like last year. So it's gonna be a little iffy for just for 2 weeks, but we'll make it work. So obviously, let's get right back on track to the news segments right now. So obviously, one of the big news for this week is Tyreek Hill. Obviously, his injury with him being inactive last week. Mike McDaniels earlier this week, he did say Tyreek Hill was doing a little bit better, but and Tyreek Hill's mindset, he's gonna be optimistic about starting this game against the Cowboys, and it is a very huge game against the Dallas Cowboys team. So having Tyreek Hill in that lineup is going to be very crucial for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, obviously, we saw Tua's narrative kind of took a little backseat as he was still able to cook without Tyreek, but we'll see how much he can do that, whether he plays or not against this pretty good Cowboys defense. Honestly, we don't really have too many news. This is a pretty slow week overall, so we're kind of just going to be more of an injury report. So, for those of you, unlike me, that are in the fantasy playoffs, this could be a big help. But we'll start with Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, we know he was in concussion protocol. He was obviously battling with an injury since last weekend. He was cleared this week. Obviously, it was reported a couple days ago he was going to travel to Tampa. It was now reported he will be starting against the Buccaneers. So we'll see if once again it turns into one of those things that he's somewhat hampered by injury and he doesn't play 100%. He probably won't be 100% if we're being honest. So all comes down to how the team around him actually helps him. And obviously, we both have the Buccaneers winning this game. So we're kind of expecting Trevor to have probably a little bit of a subpar game himself.
Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've already been on a slump. But with having Trevor Lawrence still in this lineup, it still gives them a little bit of opportunity. But with how hot Baker Mayfield is, they're going to need a lot more help than just Trevor Lawrence being off. Sticking with injury-related news, Michael Pittman Jr., even though he was cleared earlier this week, he will not be playing this game as well against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that's going to be, very detrimental to this Colts team since they've been on, I guess quite a rise with Gardner Minshew, and then with playoff implications on the line against the Jacksonville Jaguars, with division at stake, it's going to be a really, really, it's going to be a really big loss for this Colts team.
Yeah, obviously, we saw that a pretty scary hit on Saturday last week, I believe. Obviously, it's been a big point of conversation this week. It probably wasn't all that to be there, but you would have expected with a big hit like that. Closing this off, like I said, not too much going on, but another, I guess, pretty big, for the Titans in a pretty important game for their opponent. We see Will Levis will have to miss this game with an ankle injury. So, of course, that means Ryan Tannehill will step back into his original starting role that I believe he's left since week 11, something like that. So, this is probably type to see if Tannehill can be fit, maybe to lead another team, or if be a backup on some other team, which he obviously is probably on his way out from the Titans after this season. See, this can kind of just be a little audition for someone else, and obviously don't really expect much, probably not going to be that good of an audition, expecting probably a loss here against a playoff hungry Seahawks team, but we'll just have to wait and see what he does here. And of course, that wraps up our news segment here, and we'll move it into Cash or Trash, which last week, I guess you could say we probably hit our picks with Christian, you took Cash, which I probably would have just Puka Nacua decided to go off just 1 week too late for me, but still serviceable for himself. And Trash, obviously we were discussing this for a little bit. Both of our guys hit donuts. We were kind of trying to see how we were going to share this out. Hollywood Brown did get lower target share, so he was basically the more non-existent one here. So, I will give myself the win right here. So obviously moving into the week 16 edition of it, we're going to be back near the tail end onto the tight ends. For me, I'm going to be going with Trey McBride of the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, he's been on the rise ever since, I believe, the Baltimore game. He's kind of just been one of the, Travis Kelce's been a little iffy. George Kittle's always been a little inconsistent. Aside from maybe Isaiah Likely too, someone we were talking about, Trey McBride has been probably one of the better tight ends near the second half of this season. So obviously, I'm expecting a win against Chicago, and against that Chicago defense, he's probably going to be the focal point of the Cardinals offense. For Trash, I'm gonna go. I don't even want to try to pronounce his first name, but Okanowo from the Tennessee Titans. See, he one of the guys I mean, whenever we talk about tight ends, you never know the guys that really get involved as much. Oklahoma doesn't really get involved as much. I mean, he does get his projections up there, so we'll wait and see. But again, like what I was saying, a very playoff hungry Seahawks team. I expect the Titans to not get much offense going in this game.
Yeah, now with my catch trick at tight end, I'm gonna go with Evan Ingram. He's been having a slight resurgence with the Jaguars. Getting a little bit more targets, so he's gonna be a big factor in today's game against the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, he did have not gonna lie, he did have some pretty good shitters in this season, but his last couple games he's been having a little bit of a step up for Trevor Lawrence, so it's gonna be a really huge impact. And as for trash, I'm gonna go crap from the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, the Packers, they've been looking like a team where they've been on the rise for a bit, and then they've been on a little bit of decline once again. And a game against the Carolina Panthers, you would expect it to be pretty low scoring game.
Yeah, obviously, like we say, in tight ends, it could be a game where they get nothing. It can be a game where they become the focal point of the offense. So we'll wait and see how these picks roll out as season is coming to an end. See who comes out on top on these picks. Of course, we'll move it into our new little segment we got going on here with we finally called it Beans No Bets. So swapping back, I'll be taking quarterbacks and running backs. And for my game here, I'm gonna be going. For the game for my quarterback, I'm going to be going for the Bears and the Cardinals, and I'm going to be taking the under on this. I know we kind of also talked a little bit about this. You never know. The Cardinals kind of put up some points sometimes, but at the end of the day, I'm expecting it to probably not. I mean, just like what I just said. They usually only put up high volume points when it comes to garbage time, so I'll expect the under of, I believe it was 43.5. The quarterback in this game, I'm going to go with Justin Fields. I'm expecting him to go under as well. He's been up and down, someone that, I was obviously very high on at the start of the season. Then, the injury, so, whatever with that. But I'm expecting the Cardinals defense to, surprisingly shut him down a little bit in this game. So I expect him to go a little quiet. And for my second game, I'm going to be going with the Packers and the Panthers. This one, I'm also, we talked about this a little last night too. Also expecting to see an under here. Not much offensive production. Obviously, we see Jordan Love's been kind of on the down as of late. And the running back in this game, Chuba Hubbard. So I'm expecting him to actually have a pretty decent game. I think this is the only over I'm going to be going here. I don't remember his exact point total, but I do expect him to hit his over. He's been, also pretty streaky player himself, so I expect this to be one of the games he goes on the up.
Yeah, so for my first game it's gonna be the Commanders and the Jets. Obviously, pretty horrible defense against a pretty horrible offense. It's gonna go either way regardless, but I would expect a really low score, and I believe the under was under 38 points, so I'm gonna stick with the under in that game unless at the end they decide to just have a random dogfight. But you want to be realistic with the way both teams are. I'm gonna go for the under on that one. And then for actually my game, I'm gonna go for the over, which was 38 points between Dallas and Miami. It's gonna be a high scoring game between the Cowboys and the Dolphins with those high powered offenses, especially if Tyreek Hill ends up playing with the Dolphins. It's gonna be for sure be a very decently high scoring game for both teams. And as for the players, since I'm taking over with the receivers, tight ends. For the first receiver, I would hope Tyreek gets the start, so I would assume he would get the over, since that's pretty much the numbers he's been putting up all season, which was about over 20. I believe his is over 21 or 22 with the over, but with his injury, it could be a little bit of setback. But it's Tyreek Hill, the way he's been playing, the way he's been averaging. I think he's gonna get the over on that one. And then for tight ends, this was kind of lose mid for mid. Is between Tyler Conklin and Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas going against a pretty good defense. It's pretty good defense, and then Tyler Conklin going against a pretty horrible offense in a very dysfunctional. Going against a very horrible defense with a very dysfunctional offense. So kind of lose there. It took me a time to decide, but I'm gonna go Logan Thomas over 5 points. I believe it was 5.8 or somewhere around that, which I'm going with the over on that. It seems a little bit doable. So regardless, lose for me on the tight end spot, but I'm gonna go Logan Thomas the over.
And obviously, just gonna go back to your Tyreek pick. Don't think you would want him to play, but I mean, yeah, I guess, for your picks, I guess that's what you'll go with. Of course, that wraps us up here for the Week 16 Sunday chat. Obviously, we would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas Eve. Hope, obviously, you, Christian, hope you're spending with your family. Hope everyone's enjoying it very well, and hope to see you guys back here for the Week 16 recap.